I'm just going to talk about the basics of Fusion 360. The first thing you'll notice when you open is if you've got the educational license or not. Hopefully that's sorted already. The next thing is you've got an untitled document up here. First thing I like to do is work out my file management. So if I'm going to start a new project, I'll do a save. Once we've saved, we want to call it something. So say it's a billy cart project. I've already got a billy cart project in here. So I can expand this and go new project. And I might want to call this billy cart version 2. So that's got a new version number now. So it doesn't matter what you're working on. It might be a metalwork robot. It might be a lamp project. Create that new project first. And then we're going to name our first part. So if you're going to do the whole billy cart in one file, you might want to call this one my project or billy cart. If I'm going to start with the seat, I'll call it seat. So you can see that it's got kind of the file name up here now. So we're ready to model. If I come up to the top corner here, I can open my projects. So I've got a lot. I've been using this for a while, so I'm going to scroll down, and I just created one called billy cart, so it should be alphabetical order. Got push cart, okay. There it is up here, so billy cart and billy cart version 2. If I double click in that, you can see it's blank. If I look at my previous file, it's got everything organized in here. You don't want all your projects going into recent projects or just in the admin folder. You want to have that project set up. When you get more parts, it's going to be really important that that's the first step that you do. Also remember to correctly name your projects, because if you don't, when you get to the end product and it's assembled, you're going to have projects or components named component 1, component 2, untitled component. It's not very easy to go back and change them all. Quickly on modeling, so we've got a view cube over here, front, right and top. When I start modeling, I'm going to click the sketch button. We're going to create a new sketch. It gives us the option to select either this kind of the bottom plane or one of the side planes to sketch on. It just depends what you're going to sketch, but I'll start my sketch on this plane here, which is like the bottom plane. So it flips around and we can see the top view looking down. Whatever I do, I'm going to start on the origin point, because that locks it into position into the kind of space we're modeling in. If I've got a sketch that's just a series of lines, it's not going to be able to extrude, but as soon as I have a closed profile, think of it as filled with water, it kind of goes blue in the middle. When I finish that sketch of the closed profile, and then I can pull and push that profile so it's a solid shape. We're going to create a seat in this one, so I'm going to start with a piece of kind of rectangle. I'm going to add some dimensions on it. So there's a couple of different ways of adding dimensions. You can use the dimension tool up here. It might be nested under the create section if you can't see it on the kind of quick link toolbar. Let's just say 450 deep, and we'll go for the width here, 450, make it a square. So I added them manually. D is the other shortcut to dimension, so if you press D, you can get that up. And we're going to have just that square to start with. Now I'm in the perspective view here, so when I use Fusion, I like to put it into an orthographic view. I'm going to expand that. And one of your options is 12mm plywood, so that's what I'm going to use for this seat project. So we've got a pretty straight seat there, bottom platform. Now what I would like to do is put some kind of arms on this. So I'm going to go to sketch. I'm going to create a sketch on the side here, and then on the side view I'm going to draw it from this top surface up. I'm going to go the whole distance again, so I'm going to go 450, and I'm going to press tab. Then I'm going to go, let's try 100 mil up. It's a very short armrest, but I'm going to flick the view around. So let's just quickly zooming. You can use your mouse roller up and down. If you double click your mouse roller, the center roller in your mouse, mine's getting a bit tired. I have to click it quite hard. This here is it'll expand or fill the view, the whole screen. Shift and the roller clicker, clicking down, you can rotate your view, which is a really nice way of quickly moving the view around. And if I finish that sketch now, select my profile, and we're going to go 12 mil inwards this time, so -12, and that joins to the other piece. So it's really boxy, this. I'm thinking about, well, how could I actually make this in woodwork? I was linking these pieces up, so 450, tab 100, and finish sketch. Rotate my view around and extrude this one out to -12 again. So I've got a couple of little sides on my project. Now I'm going to think about the backrest. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this side here, and I'm going to use sketch again, and I'm going to draw my side this time at an angle. So at this point I'm just going to cut off this back. So let's think about this. We'll put an angle in. So this is the angle of the seat. So I want it past 90 degrees. 90 degrees would be upright. So let's just try 105 degrees. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to finish that sketch. I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to click that back triangle, and I'm going to remove the back of that material. Now I want to draw a backrest that sits between these two pieces. So I'm going to choose the inside this time, and I'm going to click sketch. So up over here. Now, what's quite interesting with this is if I try to draw through this object, it's not going to let me. I'm currently drawing on this surface. If I come down here to slice in my sketch palette, slice, you can see it removes that bottom part of the drawing. So it slices through on the plane that we selected to draw on. That's quite a handy feature. I'm going to look directly at the left again by clicking that left view. Zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the line tool, and I'm going to trace this one. I'm going to go 12 millimeters across and click, and then I'm going to select that surface and come up, and I'm going to go 300 mil, let's say 350 up. I'm not going to worry too much about the angle yet. So I've got that profile to join. Now what I'm going to do is use some of these constraints. So first one I'm going to use is collinear. Collinear, I'm going to click on this surface and this one, and collinear will join those two together. The next one I'm going to do is parallel. Parallel, I'm going to choose the two lines, and they're going to be parallel to each other. Because I've already set this distance to 12, the distance is 12 here. But you might see there's some kind of foreshortening here. So in hindsight, I'm going to delete that 12 mil. I'm going to press D or select dimension, and I'm going to select between those two there. So you can see that it's only 11.6 millimeters. So I'm going to put 12 in there, and that kind of is the discrepancy between the angles. So that it's better sitting there. All the lines are black, which means my project is fully constrained, and I'm going to finish that sketch. I'm going to extrude. So you can see my sketch sitting on the inside of this here. When I extrude, I'm going to select both sections, and rather than just pulling that over, I'm going to come over here and go to object in the extent type, and I'm going to rotate around and click that inside there. So it's a nice, neat way of doing like a pretty basic seat. You can be a bit more creative with the angles that you've used, and you can also use some kind of put some like little overhanging armrests on there for your wheel guards. Put some profiles in this part, but you can see using 12mm plywood, you could reproduce that quite quickly in a woodwork context, if I can speak properly. So yeah, keep choosing the plane. You might want to round over the seat back, and yeah, be creative with that.